Howdy folks, and welcome to 50 Nautical Mile Arc. We've got one more video in the Australian outback today before we move to another part of the world. The reason why we're here, and we're at Ayers Rock. And the reason why we're at Ayers Rock is because I want to see if Ayers Rock itself is modeled in X-Plane. Now, it's well known that landmarks are not modeled in X-Plane by default. You need to find freeware, payware, things like that. In FSX, a lot of landmarks are modeled, so a lot of people will look for them in X-Plane, but they are not in X-Plane by default. However, I am expecting that we will be able to see Ayers Rock in X-Plane, even though it's considered a landmark. Now, the reason I expect to see that is because this version 3 mesh is modeled based on OSM and terrain data. Because Ayers Rock is natural terrain, I expect that it will pop up and actually exist in X-Plane, despite the conversation I just had that landmarks are not in X-Plane, because it's a natural landmark, if that makes sense. For example, if you go over to Hoover Dam, by default the dam isn't there, but the drop-off and the cliff is there. Now in my X-Plane I do have the Hoover Dam add-on, blah 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 blah, but that's an example of the terrain is there, the drop-off, even though the man-made dam isn't there. So, the plane we're in is the Stinson L5. I think it's the L5. LG. Whatever. It's a default plane in X-Plane. This is actually my first flight on my YouTube channel with a non-payware aircraft. This is the default plane. I'm flying it one because I've only flown it once a long time ago, and it's fun, and it's a tail dragger, and I have a horrible time landing tail draggers, and it's quite possible I'll have my first crash on video. We never know. We don't know what's going to happen. The reason why I'm being very careful with the angle you're looking at here is because if you look, yes, you do see Ayers Rock off in the distance. That is what it looks like in real life. I'm assuming when we go over there, it will look like the actual rock. So the plan is just to fly out there, circle back. I might come back to this airport to land, depending how long it takes to get out there, or I might just land in the dirt. Who knows? If we fly out there and everything looks great, I don't know if we need to take the time flying back. I don't know. This airport obviously is modeled in 3D. By default, I do not have any scenery add-ons. This is one of the airports that was modeled and made it into version 10.4. 10.42. Version 10.45, which doesn't exist at the time of this recording, will have about 800 more airports modeled, and I'm looking forward to that as well. So let's hop in. This thing is pretty easy to start. I did do a practice startup, so I wouldn't waste your time. How did I do that? I turned on the generator, and you can prime if you want to, I guess. Put in the mixture and just give it a start. And that was it. So we'll have our view here. We'll have our cheap view, back seat view. There's a back seat in this if you spin around and look. Radios, which we're not going to use. Looking out the window, looking out the window, looking out the window, looking out the window. This is front seat, that's back seat. Okay. So there you go. We're going to taxi out to the left and then just take off wherever we end up on the runway. We obviously don't need very much runway, and this airport is big enough. Full-size long-range jets land here in real life, so we don't need the whole runway. I think we have lights. We have strobe and nav. I think those are our only options. I don't know much about this airplane other than when I flew it when I first got X-Plane a long time ago. It was a lot of fun. But being a tail dragger, I'm not very good with tail draggers yet. I just don't fly them often enough. So we'll just go out here. Let's have a look outside. Not to cheat, but just to look at the airplane. Let's see, let's go over here and then take off to the right. I think we have flaps, yep. 3 levels of flaps. We need 3 levels of flaps. Let's do 2. You can fly slower and take off at a slower speed with more flaps, but is a lot more difficult to control. That is a nice looking aircraft. I'll pick up our taxi speed a little bit. There we go. Looking good. Some people complain about the quality of aircraft in X-Plane 10, and I kind of get their point if you're used to a lot of payload aircraft like I am now. But this is, to me, one of the better aircraft in X-Plane 10 default aircraft. What else do I like for default X-Plane 10? I don't know. I haven't flown any default plane in so long. I would have to think about that. Alright, let's hop in so we're not completely cheating. I guess this is cheating too. Although in real life I'm 6'3.5", so I think I would stick my nose up as far as I could in real life. No, I guess I'd have a seatbelt on, wouldn't I? I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't know. Stick my head out the window like a dog? I don't know. I have no idea how people would taxi this in real life if you're sitting back here like this. I guess just look out the side and hope for the best. I don't know. Alright, let's get lined up, take off, and head over to the rock. Should have plenty of runway available. And we're not going straight. There you go. Doesn't take much to lift that off the ground, but those flaps are right away. Okay, nose drop as we expect. There we go, let's just head over there. Single runway airfield. And this is version 3 mesh. Can't really see much. I guess I could have picked a better plane for sightseeing out the nose. I didn't really think that through. I was thinking, side view when we get there, that'll be nice. I wasn't thinking the nose very well. Looking good so far. I do like how the speed is miles per hour instead of knots. Or it indicated their speed. It says best takeoff for flaps at 30 degrees. Doesn't say what best landing is. I guess landing just depends on how much runway you have. And there we go. Now you can see the rock pretty well. So in case you skipped through the video, the reason why I expected this to look so nice is because it's based on OSM and terrain data. And even though this is considered a landmark, it's a natural landmark, so I expected it to show up in X-Plane. Looks like I'm right so far. In real life, there's a highway that goes around this thing. I don't know if we're looking at the highway right now. That might be the highway right now. Talking about that. Highway 4 in real life. Not sure if it comes this far out or not. I expect it to be closer to the rock. Maybe there will be a highway closer to the rock. Yeah, there it is. So that highway, the curvy highway going around. Alright, where do those towns go? There we go, those are little towns. That's kind of neat. Not sure if they'd be grassy. Maybe they would be. Kind of wish I knew the name of those towns. look it up as soon as I'm done. There's a big water mass out here. We're heading south, so that's not the ocean. The ocean would be over here. I'm having a hard time flying when I'm not looking at it. I'm looking off in the distance. Oh, I do remember that water mass when I was looking this up. Alright, let's hop back in. I admit, I used to do a lot of research before I would do a video. I would have looked up all these towns, memorized them all, so when I talk about them, I could provide accurate information, but I guess it'd be a little laborious to go to a different continent and memorize everything. But maybe I'll start doing that again. I do end up spending way more time preparing for a flight than I actually end up flying, though. Which, I don't know. Sometimes it's not a big deal, but sometimes it gets to be a little exhausting. There's a highway going around the rock I was talking about, Highway 4. Going around the rock. That I looked up ahead of time. That's looking pretty nice. As I said, I expected to see the rock, just based on the mapping data, and there it is. I'm not quite sure people would be hot air ballooning over the rock. Maybe they would be. There's some traffic down on the highway. So in case you're wondering what I'm talking about with the mesh and everything is the reason why every road and body of water is mapped accurately in X-plane, and I think FSX for that matter, is it uses OSM data. And what that means is it takes map data and it puts the roads exactly where they are in real life, and it's extremely accurate. But as soon as you think it gets accurate enough, it can get more accurate, and it does. And this version 3 mesh is extremely accurate for roads and bodies of water. But then it goes another level, and there's terrain mapping too, and that's why we're able to get things like this accurately placed. Mountains are accurately placed. So you can fly into a mountainous area, follow an approach chart to a T, and you will end up exactly where you're supposed to be without running into anything, because it's that accurate. So there's our town back there. There you go, that looks fantastic. That is some funny sounds. Well, we could sit there all day, but I think it is time to head back to the airport if I can find it. And let's try to land this tail rigger without too much fuss. One more peek at the rock. And let's go back. Where is my airport? Well, where are those tiny towns? Airfield should be straight ahead pretty much. I really like how that highway goes around the rock like that. That's awesome. I was thinking maybe you can see the ocean in the distance, but it's just way too far away. Right. And I've lost the airport, of course. I guess I could bring up our chart. they're the three little towns. I mean, right over the towns. So let's just not panic until we get past these little towns. And I know I'm spending a lot of time out of the cockpit on this flight. And that's because you don't see a whole lot here, and there really isn't anything to monitor on my gauges. So I didn't really pick the best plane for a sightseeing trip, but I just wanted to do something different. It's something I hadn't flown yet. I think we'll time lapse this until we're about ready to land. See you in a moment. Alright, the airfield has been spotted. Came up a lot quicker than I thought. Just like a car trip, it seems like it's faster to get back somewhere than it was to get there in the first place. So now, let's see if I can land this for the first time ever. Because when I flew this the one time, when I first got X-Plane, I didn't land it, I just flew around in it. Let's see if we can do this without crashing to the ground. It's quite possible you all might experience my first crash in 12 years of flight sim. It wouldn't be that crazy because I haven't had very good landings lately. Because I have my new yoke and I've only had 5 or 6 landings with it. It's been a different aircraft every time except once. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hear the confidence in my voice, right? One thing I like about 3D modeled airports is they're so much easier to spot from the air than just airstrips. I'm really looking at that in a funny way, aren't I? There we go, that's better. Oh, I've got Pappy. Nice. I also have Horrible Approach. But we'll just come down, flatten out, kill some speed, put out some flaps, and hope for the best. If I can bleed off speed in time, I should be able to. Once I flatten out, our speed should just drop like crazy. I really should have my climb indicator visible. Oh, I remember this problem. That thing is right in my way, the window frame or whatever. Alright, there we go. Alright, whoa! I expected it to pop up like that, but not that much when they put the flaps out. Look at this. The flap thing doesn't even work over here. Look at that. So distracted by that, I lost my runway. Okay, I'm having a very difficult time controlling this right now. Let's bring some flaps in. I don't need that many flaps. There we go. That's better. Ooh, this is. You know, somebody suggested I should have a camera on my yoke so you can see what I'm doing. And I really wish I had that camera on right now because I am fighting this thing like crazy right now. You can kind of see the stick moving around, but that is not a representation of how much I'm fighting with this yoke. Oh my goodness. This is exhausting. And I need to use my left hand because my right hand is adjusting the throttle. Alright, how do you land a tail dragger? Well, you land right at stall speed or you'll bounce. But you can't kill the throttle too soon because you'll drop like a rock, so, and then you'll crash. So we're coming in a little fast, but I can't drop the throttle yet. And now we're coming in low, so I'm giving more throttle. A little more throttle, I'm not ready to touch down. Let's try this again. Oh, this isn't going to be good, is it? Oh, I bounced, but I didn't crash. I got under control. Oh, bounced again. Oh, that wasn't a bounce. Oh, rudder, ground loop. Save it. I'm saving it. I'm going to save it. I'm not even on the runway, am I? Just land in the dirt. Rudder, come on. There we go. Well, where's the taxiway? It's right there. Let's taxi and then we'll watch the replay. That's not a taxiway. That's to turn around. Let's stop this thing, set the parking brake, and let's watch the replay. Right, nice view of the rock in the background. And let's see how this landing goes. So yeah, oof. Yeah, that was awful. I did bounce twice. And then I forgot about the rudder. Oof, jeez. Oh well. Ooh, that's expensive. I did keep it off the dirt though, and I saved the ground loop. So I got those in my favor. Let's check another one. Alright. Let's keep the rock in the background, since that's why we're here. Alright, we're back in real time. Let's park this thing. Park and brake off. Let's move ahead. That is a nice looking airport though, isn't it? With the trees. Alright, well, common theme if you've been watching my videos in order is that I've been complaining about my landings a lot. It's probably getting tiresome, but the reason I'm complaining is with my old stick I had my landings just perfected in an aircraft, and now I get this new yoke and it is like starting over. So if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments section and I will include them at some point, put them on my whiteboard, and maybe fly where you would like to see me fly. Otherwise, like usual, if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.